Hey, bub. I get it. You don't want to spend cash on a show when you can get it for free. We can't settle for second best, because in this business, bub, second best don't cut it. Now you best get your ass over to patreon.com/evacstation. For less of the cost of zipping Deadpool's mouth shut, you can fund a couple of idiots who can use that money for more. Again, that's patreon.com/evacstation. This one's for you, Morph.
The funny thing about podcasts is, if you ever manage to process their raw liquid form, you have to keep them that way. Keep them hot. Because once the audio renders and it uploads, it becomes unstoppable. But I think you're well aware of that. Welcome to the After Credits Cast. I am your host, Aaron J. Wagner, and with me today I have Rice Steak Mitters.
Oh my god! It's Wagner! It's Wagner, you jerk!
I'm not German, Ryan. I'm pronouncing the W as is.
God damn it. Oh, man.
I guess I gotta say, Ryan, I've never seen a podcast in its raw liquid form. I'd love to see a picture of that. If someone could just, render that for me and put it online somewhere, I'd love to see what that looked like.
We've got fans who are artists, right? Come on, guys, do that fan art thing that you love to do so much.
I can imagine me, over a vat of podcast juice, just okay, gotta render this shit.
Oh, man, so, it would be funny if, I was stabbing you with a syringe and pumping liquid hot podcast into your chest.
Oh, Christ. Just seeing it oozing out of my mouth and my ears, oh my god.
Golly.
Can we get that, everybody, please? I'd love some fan art of that. It sounds gross and horrible at first, but then once you really think about it, it just sounds magical and stupid.
Guys, get on that, please. Please.
Before I get too far away from it, the intro theme this episode was the X-Men TV theme, 8-bit style, by by Bulby at Mr. Bulbamike. So thank you to him, and we'll move on with the show. You can follow us on Facebook, Tumblr, or Twitter. You can also go to Patreon, as we listed above, to support our show. Links are all down below for those. You can also find us on YouTube, Peepa, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, or Podcast Addict, your platform of choice, because we want to make sure you guys have options. And if you want to reach us out directly, Ryan, what's that email they can reach us out at?
They can reach us at, have you tried not being a mutant? I'm sorry, excuse me. They can reach us at evacstation@gmail.com.
I have so many words for that scene, I cannot wait. Before we get too far on anything else, though, Ryan, what have you been watching?
Well, I've been watching some gameplay of a game that's in closed alpha right now, and it's weird because I'm about to say that I'm interested in a battle royale, and I hate battle royales. It's really not my bag, but I've heard of this one that is in development called Spellbreak. And the fun thing about this particular battle royale is that you in this one are a battle mage, and you run around casting big ass spells to kill people. And of the gameplay that I've seen of it, it really accurately encompasses the big fucking running around throwing elemental forces feeling that I think of when I think of a mage. And what they've got set up for it right now, it's set up as a battle royale because, of course, it's the flavor of the month, and it's a really easy game system to develop. But what they've got can be adapted to so many different things. Like, the animation style is amazing. Just the feel of the gameplay, from what I can tell, just looks ridiculous. The idea of being able to fly through the air, throw a pebble that becomes a huge boulder and falls onto a group of people before throwing a fireball at them, before teleporting away. Just, come on, guys. It looks really cool. If I get into any battle royale, it will probably be that one.
I saw some footage for that on the Clean Prince or Clean Price Gaming channel.
I love that guy.
He's really good. And, he did a video on that, and it looked really good. And if I had the time to invest in any game, the genre, battle royale genre, if I had any time for that, I would do it. But I barely have time for the games I do want to play. I say that after having played some spare time with my Smash Bros game, but it's Smash Bros. It's my jam. I just don't have time for big online games like that. I feel bad because if I were in college, this would be my jam for sure. But me being an adult, I don't have that time.
Fucking adulting, man! I tell you what. No, I 100%. I see where you're coming from. That's definitely one of my things too. But it's definitely one I'll keep my ears open for. Like I said, it is in closed alpha right now. If a beta happens and I happen to have some time, I might try and give it a shot. But I mean, when it comes out, who knows? You might be seeing me over there.
Well, hey, if you like it, let me know, and I might jump in with you down the road. We'll see.
I will let you know.
Speaking of adulting, I don't have anything really I've been watching this past week that I can mention yet, but I can talk about some house hunting the missus and I have been doing.
Hey!
So, long story short, we got pre-qualified for a loan, so we know what we can afford now.
Okay.
So now we're out and about looking for actual houses. We haven't gone to one yet. We were just kind of making a list of what we like so far based on the Realtor.com website that we recommended to look at, and nothing has blown us out of the water yet. But there's a few things that were okay, this would be something worth checking out. Some of them are in town, some of them are a little ways out of town, so we're hoping to send a list to our agent we're working with, and she's going to help us figure out what works best for us, if any of these do. And this will be an ongoing saga on the podcast here soon, of me telling you what houses we found and which ones we like, and so forth and so forth. Expect there to be a delay at some point in the summer where I can't upload or record anything because I'll be busy moving, so we'll find out about that soon enough.
That's so damn cool, dude. Oh, that's some real adult shit. I'm so happy for you.
Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping with the schedule we're doing, actually, since we're recording stuff that's going to be uploaded in the summer, Ryan, with the X-Men stuff here, that we'll be getting ahead of the curve pretty well, and I don't have to worry about delays too much. Fingers crossed.
Indeed.
Fingers crossed.
That's because Aaron runs a tight ship in the After Credits podcast.
I gotta admit, I feel like we've done really good this year getting ahead of the game, because we're already on summer shit, Ryan. I'm fucking blown away how far ahead we are.
Yeah, dude.
We're doing good.
Sir. Well done.
Speaking of well done, let's jump into the breakdown for the movie this week. How about that?
Yes, because I really like this one. Sorry.
This one's pretty solid. I do have some gripes, but I do like it overall.
Of course, it's not a perfect
welcome
one,
back.
But still, yeah.
Yep. Welcome back to the Disneymation, where we bid a fond farewell to the beloved Fox X-Men franchise. I think it's still pretty good overall. Today, we'll be talking about X2, X-Men United, released in 2003 and directed by, again, the alleged child rapist, Bryan Singer, and written by Zach Penn and David Hayter. I promise I won't abuse that joke too much more. Again, any praise to this film does not apply to Bryan Singer. The film would go on to gross $407,711,000 worldwide, which is about 3.5 times what it cost. But the budget went up a little bit, so that's a little fair. Our cast includes the ever-demanding Halle Berry, a huge jacked man, Brian Cox, Anna Paquin, James Marsden, okay, you have to help me with this one again.
Famke Jensen.
Yep. I don't know why I keep mispronouncing it. Famke Jensen. It's exactly how it's spelled, but I just don't see it. Alan Cumming, Sean Ashmore, Aaron Stanford, Rebecca Romaine, along with our favorite old man friends Gandalf and Captain Picard. Also note, Katie Stewart and Steve Bakic would play Shadowcat and Hank McCoy, but would be recast in future films. And Katie Stewart is actually the second Shadowcat we've seen in the series so far.
Yep.
It's kind of weird they didn't get to, I'm blanking on the name now, Ellen Page, until the third one. And, like, yeah, just, what? Why are we switching this up every single movie, guys? This time it only wins 6 awards. These include Best Sci-Fi Film from the Academy of Sci-Fi, Fantasy, and Horror, and from the Golden Schmoes as well. Best Actress to Halle Berry from the BET Awards. In all fairness, she is better than the last movie. I don't think she deserves Best Actress. I don't think she deserves Best Actress, but I also don't know how wide that pool was. It might have been a very shallow pool. A BMI Film Music Award for the composer, John Ottman. Best Hairstyling in a Feature Film from the Canadian Network of Makeup Artists. And a breakthrough male performance to Sean Ashmore, who played Iceman, I believe. I'm trying to keep the names straight. There's so many names. There's so many names.
A breakthrough performance. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Hey, kudos, sir. Kudos. Okay. We have some fun facts here for you today. Sir Ian McKellen, who played Magneto, as you all are well aware, worked with the screenwriters to make the scene in which Bobby Drake, Iceman, tells his parents he is a mutant to look more like a common gay coming out scene. Incidentally, Bobby Drake in the comics has, in more recent years, come out as openly gay. In 2012, he does marry Kyle Jinadu in the first interracial gay wedding in comic book history. Which, whether or not you agree with it, like with whether or not you agree that it belongs in comics, I don't even know why you wouldn't. Like the fact that this franchise, which has openly been like a parallel for so many different social issues that are plaguing our society right now. Like, in all honesty, like, I'm so glad that it happened. I'm so glad that they went with that, and that the LGBTQ community can get some more representation in like comic books and the comic book scene. So kudos. I'm really happy about that. Mm-hmm. Next up, Bryan Singer credits the X-Men graphic novel God Loves, Man Kills, which was released in 1982, as an influence for the script. As in the movie, the novel concerns William Stryker, a religious leader instead of a military one, building a replica of Cerebro and kidnapping Professor Xavier so he can use it to kill all mutants. The X-Men are forced to ally themselves with Magneto to stop him. So, pretty much copy-pasted that there. But hey, I personally liked it.
I did actually read that comic in more recent years, and there are some differences, but for the most part, yeah, the general beats are kind of the same. But I think the tone is definitely a little different and a little, I don't say bleaker, but it definitely just paints a different tone, because you're used to all, like, growing up as a kid, you're used to all these like different religious like houses, churches, Christianity, Judaism, and all that stuff, all preach about love and togetherness. And when you see a religious leader preaching hate and doing all this horrible stuff to a like subset of people, it definitely hits you a lot harder than it does with a military guy. Because a military guy, like, you expect it, because it's just kind of the tropey norm of that. But a religious leader, especially when you're like a young person growing up, it throws you for a loop at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got you there. All right, I might have to check that out. But it's real good. Our last fun fact, the script underwent rewrites, say that 5 times fast.
That's a hard one.
It is, to give Halle Berry some more screen time after she won an Oscar for Monsters Ball in 2001. She also insisted on dropping her quote-unquote Kenyan accent from the previous film. Kudos on you, Halle, because that was not doing you favors. I'm glad they listened.
Yep, that is one small step for Halle Berry and one giant leap for X-Men movies.
It really is. It really is.
So some initial thoughts to get those out of the way real quick. This is definitely better than the first one. It still has not aged super great, but it's definitely a lot better. There are some logistic problems I have with the film overall, but I think this one works a lot better than the first one does. I can't say that enough.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm still pissed off that Wolverine can start a car with his claws, but aside from that, I mean...
God, I saw that, I'm like, what the fuck is that about?
Like, guys, please. It was a nice-ass car, too. It wasn't like a little hoopty that he could fucking jury rig. No, it's like a fucking new car. And it's just like, shink! Alright, let's go. I'm like, come on, guys. What are you doing here? But no, aside from small shit like that, like, I really, really liked it. I spoke last week regarding that, there's a huge divide between 9-year-old Ryan who loved this shit and 29-year-old Ryan is like, what the hell is happening? There is less of a divide here. Like, I was closer to my young self as I was watching Wolverine tear through the fucking school, just cutting down military guys trying to kidnap these kids. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That scene's really strong. It's very
strong.
Well, Ryan, I've got a synopsis here if you're ready for it.
I am. Let's go.
All right. Picking up where we left off, Magneto is in jail. Wolverine's exploring Canada to find a wolf and some snow. And the president is nearly assassinated by the member of the Blue Man Group. Oh, and Senator Kelly is alive. I mean, not really. It's Mystique, a shapeshifting mutant, impersonating Kelly to keep tabs on one William Stryker and work on a plan to free Magneto from his plastic prison. Keeping track of all his plot threads? Good. Let's see how that goes for you going down. Wolverine returns to the mansion and is warmly greeted by the team, as well as Rogue, who has made some new friends with Harry Iceman Potter and Ron Pyro Weasley.
God damn.
I'm kidding. They aren't that central to the plot. Xavier sends Storm and Jean to track down the Blue Blur, because he teleports, and while he and Cyclops go to the Magneto's prison, because reasons. While they're away, Stryker launches an invasion on the mansion, and Wolverine fights plenty of them off, with the likes of Colossus, Iceman, and some other kids focusing on their escape. Stryker teases Wolverine about knowing his past, but they have to chill out for a moment on that one. Get it?
I see what you did there.
I like it. Jean and Storm get to the assassin mentioned earlier, a mutant named Nightcrawler who likes long-winded introductions. He agrees to go with them to meet Xavier and help clear his name. Xavier learns that Magneto gave all his secrets to Stryker, and then neurotoxin is pumped into the room as Stryker kidnaps both Xavier and Cyclops for his twisted evil plan.
Can you input a voice of GLaDOS here with the deadly neurotoxin?
Every time I read neurotoxin, that's how I read it in my head. Shortly after this, Magneto stages a breakout thanks to Mystique and a high iron diet. I love that scene, by the way. Just want to point that out.
It is.
Wolverine, Iceman, Rogue, and Pyro, the crew, go to Iceman's home, where he comes out to his family and admits about being a mutant. They call the authorities because they're dicks. Storm and Jean pick them up on the way home, and they get debriefed on what went down at the mansion. The military also almost shoots them down, but Magneto saves them last minute because he needs to help bring down Stryker and stop the plan of using Charles and Cerebro to kill the mutants, because he wants to use them to kill the humans.
We'll get there. That's later.
I mean, we see it coming, though. It's Magneto. Mystique infiltrates the compound, allowing the rest of the team to follow. Fighting happens, and the compound's integrity is compromised in the scuffle. I should remind you, at this point, the compound is also a dam, like holding back water, guys. Just so you all know. Magneto managed to fuck around with the Cerebro plan, making Xavier focus his killing mental force on all the humans instead of the mutants. But the X-Men managed to stop him and get Charles out of the compound. Pyro abandons the team and goes to join Magneto and his equally racist group of mutants. The dam breaks just as the heroes are about to take off, and the jet won't start. God darn it! We just got checked out last week. Instead of freezing the water or teleporting everyone away, or a number of other options, Jean prevents everyone from helping her as she attempts to sacrifice herself and use her telekinetic powers to get the jet out of the way and protect it from the ice-cold water. And sadly, she supposedly dies. Xavier and the rest of the team go to Washington to stop the president from starting a race war. Cyclops becomes Mopey, and that's it for this episode. Tune in next time on the Disneymation for Jean Grey Kills the Franchise.
Oh, come on.
So Ryan, what'd you think?
Like I said, I liked it. I want to jump to that last scene because, God damn it, I still believe it was the best way to go.
How? You have two people on the team who could do ice shit with Storm and Iceman. That would have been enough to stop any of that water.
No. She is holding back the collective force of an entire river. Storm can't do that. Like, straight up, she can't do that. And Iceman is not powerful enough to freeze all of that water. Like, literally. Like,
I don't know, man.
Nightcrawler can't teleport the goddamn jet away.
I mean, why can't you levitate the jet from inside then?
It wouldn't have been dramatic enough. That one I'll give you. That one I will 100% give you. I think it's possible. I think it's possible that she needed enough time to actually lift the jet to above the water level. So she had to be out there to actually stop the water while she was also doing that. It gives her a badass moment because Jean Grey needs a badass moment. God damn it, she's about to become the Phoenix.
She does, but I don't like it when someone just goes out and sacrifices themselves when there's perfectly viable options that they could have gone with.
Where?
I'm just saying. But no, I get it. The intent is to set up for the Phoenix in the next film. I totally get that. I just think that if you're going to set up for Phoenix, there's a better way you could have done it, probably. Like,
I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was sufficiently dramatic enough. I thought seeing her pull a Moses and hold back an entire dam's worth of water was pretty goddamn boss, while she was also lifting a jet. Like, Jean is fucking strong, and she doesn't.
Oh no, I know.
She doesn't get a chance to shine in these movies until then. So I was happy to see it.
You know what's always funny to me is that everyone says Magneto was one of the most powerful mutants out there, but can we be realistic here though? Yes, he is powerful, but his power is literally just telekinesis, but only on metal things. Whereas Jean Grey is telekinesis, but with everything. I get there's more subtle nuances to it that make him more powerful than that, but when you break it down...
Magnetism is one of the fundamental forces of nature. Dude, that's strong. That's swole. It's not just telekinesis with metal things.
But portrayed in the films and in the cartoon shows, you never see it to that extent.
That's fair. That's fair. But yes, no, Magneto is definitely an alpha level mutant. Like, he is strong. But yes, you're correct. As strong as Magneto is, fucking Jean Grey Phoenix trumps that shit all day, every day.
And that's just scary to think about, because they never gave her anything until then, and then once the Phoenix comes out, it's like, oh, hey, Jean, so we're going to write you as the most powerful character in X-Men now. I know you haven't really gotten a spotlight in, like, ever, but we think you deserve it. Oh, we're going to kill you off in a few issues, though. What?
We will save my Phoenix defense for next week.
Oh boy, that'll be fun. I haven't seen the third X-Men in so long. I feel like I'm going to be kinder to it than I was originally, but I feel like I'm still going to hate on it a little bit. We'll see.
We will save that for next week. I believe you have some discussion questions here, sir.
I do. Ryan, is there too much going on in this movie, or do you think it all tied together well enough?
I think there was a lot happening, but I do think that it came together all at the end. There were definitely a lot of moving parts, which is kind of part and parcel for when you split up the main cast, the main ensemble, to do like a couple of different things. But I think it comes together well. I think the main group, like having to fight and escape the school was boss. them coming together and like hooking up with Jean and Storm with the jet. Them having to meet up with Magneto, who's the only one who actually knows what the fuck is going on with Charles. Them all having to bust Charles out before Magneto decides to try and be a dick. And eventually all escaping so that we can go talk to the president and make sure that this worldwide attack isn't taken the wrong way. I think it came together at the end.
Maybe. There's a few little bits I questioned that, I guess not question whether they're good or bad, but just wonder, you include them in the movie and then you really didn't go very far with them. Like, for example, there's the one scene in the tent where Mystique is, like, tricking Logan into maybe having sex, but then she backs off when he gets all, like, you know, growly about it, obviously.
That was just weird. That was just odd.
like, here's the thing. Wolverine and Mystique hook up with a lot of different people, including each other, and it's interesting to see that kind of play out in various, like, comics and cartoons. And I'm not opposed to them hooking up here, but you just kind of did it out of nowhere here, and then you didn't really do anything with it afterwards. So it's just kind of like, it was unearned, and you didn't give us anything to make it worthwhile. So I don't know what the point of that was.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've heard some people say that scene was really just kind of a bait and switch to have, like, production materials where it's like Hugh Jackman is being straddled by like the main actresses in the film to kind of like and what have you. But the thing is like, if you wanted to do that with, say, Storm, there are so many in canon stories where Wolverine and
Age
Storm
of Apocalypse,
are
I think,
a
was
thing.
One, wasn't it?
Was that
Mohawk Storm, right?
Yeah,
I think I remember that one.
Like that's definitely a thing that happens, but you can't really have that happen while he's still pining after Jean, which he 100% is in this whole franchise. So, I don't know. You are correct. They could have done without that one.
And then I think the subplot regarding the trio of kids, Rogue, Pyro, and Iceman, there should have been more to it, I think. Not to overwhelm the story, but I feel like their involvement is so minimal. Like, they get the safe house temporarily from Iceman, and then Rogue kind of has the last minute save that almost kills him because she crashes the ship a little bit. And then Pyro kind of just defects the team a little bit. And I feel like there could have been a little bit more involvement from them to really sell me on their purpose of being there. But I just don't feel like they really have earned their place on the team with just what little they do. You know what I mean?
Well, so I wouldn't have lost Pyro because I definitely like them setting up and like him like how like
that's
how
fine.
like
That's
with
fine.
with the young generation. Sometimes all this talk about like peace and love isn't enough, you know, because there is a large subsect of young people that are dealing with injustices that are fucking pissed, and you like. Not like you have to speak to those as well. You have to represent those guys as well. So having Pyro in the movie and ultimately joining the Brotherhood, I 100% love. Having Iceman there, kind of weak. Like you had the like he was kind of like the normalizing factor because we got to see him interact with his family and then have that moment where he lets them know that he's actually a mutant, and like have that kind of hit home for a lot of different audiences. I completely understand why they had that in there. I would have wanted them to do more with his character aside from just that scene, but that's okay. And Rogue, after being the crux of the entire first movie, kind of does nothing in this whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they had done something with Rogue. But of course, they haven't given her goddamn powers except for being a leech. And she has no, like, hand-to-hand training or combat, so she can't get up close to people to fuck them up.
You know what would have been really cool? If she had been teleported into the room with Nightcrawler, and then she just touched the dude and ended the whole illusion thing.
That would have been real cool. Oh, damn! What? Oh, that would have been so good! Oh. Okay. So we're going to talk about that for a hot second. I understand that was really the culmination of Storm's arc in this movie.
I know.
I understand. And like you have Nightcrawler being a man of faith and how Storm is a little bit jaded in this one and how like like that fear where she was afraid of humans, like is now turning to anger because she shouldn't have to be, and like that anger can help her survive from people that want to hunt her. But you've got Kurt who's talking about his faith and really being the heart of the team, like he always is, because Nightcrawler is the shit and I love him. I get that. But damn it, that would have been so much cooler. That would have been so much cooler.
And the thing, too, you could really think about is you could then have Storm free to fight someone else and do something else really cool, like fighting alongside... She could fight alongside Wolverine against Deathstrike, or fight alongside Jean against Cyclops. It could have been a little more bombastic with that, too.
Nah, because she would have ended either of those instantly. She would have blown Scott against the wall and held him while Jean fucking figured some shit out, or she would have just hit Deathstroke with a bolt of lightning, and that metal skeleton would have done her no favors.
But they would have been a little more bombastic than just she freezes a room.
Yeah, no, like the only big action pieces they gave her was that room freezing and the tornado alley with the with the fighter jets. It was pretty sick, but at the same time, I'm realizing that only existed to give Storm something to do. Like, wait, so we have a ridiculously powerful mutant here. We need to give her some cool ass shit to do. Okay, well, she's gonna create a bunch of tornadoes.
So you might say it's fair to say there are maybe too many characters to juggle in this film, and Bryan Singer may not be the best person to juggle them together.
You could say that. You could say that. That's something you could say.
I'm looking forward to when we get to Matthew Vaughn, because he juggles characters very well. I think he's the one that did First Class.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, going on to Storm here real quick. So, which X-Men have improved their portrayals, and which ones, if any, have gotten worse since the last movie? I definitely think that Storm has improved, even if it's just baby steps.
She has improved. You are correct. She has improved.
I feel like Rogue has plateaued a little bit.
I feel like Rogue has plateaued. They didn't really have anything to do with her, except for give her a pair of gloves. They didn't really give her character any arc whatsoever. Yeah. Same with Cyclops, who I kind of forgot was in the movie until he showed up in the third act shooting lasers at Jean. I'm like, oh shit, right! He got captured. I would say it's a step backwards for Cyclops, because at least we knew he was there in the last film. He actually contributed a bit. Here he's like, oh, I got kidnapped. I'm the Hawkeye of this movie. Yeah. He definitely regressed. I think they gave Logan more stuff to do, more places to explore, and I liked it. I don't think he got any better, because it was already pretty damn good, and he didn't really have a noticeable change from learning about his past. So I think it was high, but I still think it also kind of...
I think his action sequence is improved, but that has nothing to do with him per se. It's just that they knew what to do with it more.
Yeah. They finally wrote a bomb-ass Wolverine action sequence where it's not... Like they had the badass one-on-one fight, but they also said, hey, Wolverine's really good at killing multiple people. Let's give him a scene, and let's have the viewers not feel bad because there'll be these military assholes that are infiltrating a school to kidnap children. We're gonna cheer as Wolverine just fucking starts murdering these people. Mm-hmm. Excellent. So yes, I think they definitely, the action sequences involving him were definitely kicked it up a notch. But as far as character development goes, I don't think they did too much of a change.
Magneto's a step up for sure.
Yeah.
His plan was pretty bad and stupid in the first movie. This time around, he actually does a really good job turning the tables on everybody. And I'm like, okay, Magneto, you've earned your place in the Pantheon here. Step right up, buddy.
I think what I like most about him is that they gave him more opportunity to really play into his motivations and talk to people. You get to hear him actually espouse the shit that he believes in. When he's talking to Pyro and trying to convince him the fuck do you care what humans think of you, motherfucker? You're like fucking Prometheus. What are you doing over there? You can fucking control fire. What are you doing?
You're not wrong, actually, because you're right. He gets to interact with the cast a lot more. And the last film, he was very, like isolated from everybody else until like the last scene. So he's gone from
right. He got to play off Charles, which is always fun. But this one we get to see him play off the rest of the group. He gets to be a sassy bitch with Mystique. And it's just always fun. Like, Sir Ian just got to let some of that sass come out a little bit, and I was all there for it. It was wonderful.
We can go through the whole cast here, but I think overall everyone's improved except for a few notable ones, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, next one. Is it ironic that Stryker's plan to wipe out all mutants still requires 2 mutants to actually accomplish?
A little bit. I wouldn't say it's really ironic. I would say it's like the plan that he comes up with is so diabolical, and it's not just because he's using Charles, who wants to save all the mutants and actually to kill them, but because of the fact that it's his son that he fucking tortured to be just this thing that did whatever the fuck he wanted. That was fucking horrendous.
It's
like, everybody wanted Stryker dead at that point. So I wouldn't say it's ironic. Like, I'd say it's really well written. Like, I really liked this plot because it was pretty well designed, and it was so well written to make Stryker like as hateable as possible, so that you cheer when he gets fucking hit by the water wall.
Absolutely. Okay, speaking of Stryker, actually, do you like him as a military leader in this film, or would you prefer to see the more religious take on the character like from the comics?
I think the more religious take would have been a little too on the nose, to be perfectly honest. Just to be perfectly honest.
For a film...
Because we're already...
for a film in 2003 that was trying to still keep comics off the ground floor, yeah, that might have been a bit too risque back then. Nowadays, I could see him doing it. But back... Back then... Nah, and I think it ties into Wolverine's backstory specific. I think that's why they did it, is because it ties into Wolverine's backstory, and it simplified things for them in the future films.
Yeah, I think that decision was actually a very good one. It kept it nice and simple. It gave him that hard-ass edge to him because he's a military leader. It lent him that kind of amorality to his character's edge. I definitely bought him as a military leader, and it allowed some of his worst traits to come out as well.
Mm-hmm. I guess speaking of the military being tied to Wolverine here, does this film focus too much on Wolverine's backstory, or not enough? What do you think?
I mean, I said it last week. Fox found perfect casting for Wolverine and then just fucking leaned on it. So I don't hate it. I mean, it's Wolverine. Like as much as it's an ensemble piece, Wolverine is pretty much the protagonist. So, I mean, having a core part of the story revolve around his backstory, it's par for the course. I think it was well done. I think getting to see the Weapon X facility was really, really cool. I think hanging such of the story on his backstory was worth the price of admission just to get the Deathstroke fight, because god damn, that was fun.
I am still mixed with the Deathstroke fight because it
really.
Well, so this comes back from my knowledge of the comics and the cartoons. Back in the day, Ryan, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Deathstroke and Wolverine were actually an item in the comics and the cartoons. Like, they had a history and shit.
I am.
And I get, again, like with the Sabretooth thing, I get it. That's a little too much baggage to add to this movie already packed with a bunch of other shit going on. So it's not really feasible. So she's more of just like a action figure being thrown in the mix rather than just having like an actual character arc, which kind of bugs me a little bit. But at the same time, though, she was also one of my least favorite parts of Wolverine's backstory, so I kind of forgive it. But it does seem like a missed opportunity to do some more deep diving into Wolverine's, like, backstory and shit.
That's a fair criticism. I will accept the fact that she is just kind of used as a kind of action set piece, just as like, oh, we've got another fucking Wolverine over here. He's evenly matched. This is gonna be fucking ridiculous. Like, and it was, but I think I think the role that they wrote for her fits the movie. Yeah. I think like having Deathstroke, is it Deathstroke or Deathstrike?
Deathstrike.
Deathstrike. Sure Deathstrike.
Yeah,
okay.
Deathstroke is DC.
It is. That's what I'm fucking flipping on. Derp, 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 derp. Having Deathstrike in the movie was really, really cool because comic book geeks, they know, oh shit, Weapon X program. It's gonna be Wolverine versus Deathstrike. That's gonna be amazing. And like the way they wrote her in doesn't bog the story down too much. You have to sacrifice her story to get her in there, but at the same time, her story isn't like huge. So I think it was a notable sacrifice, and it contributed to one of the best action pieces in the movie.
Yep.
So I was okay with it.
Okay. So we talked about the religious bent of Stryker being a little too on point, but how on point was Iceman's family home scene? Oh boy.
It was definitely pointed. It was definitely pointed, but I didn't hate it. I think the entire point of X-Men is to paint social issues in different light for public consumption, and having a scene that so resembled someone coming out to their parents and being rejected simply for being the way they are, I think it was a really important thing to add, because X-Men isn't just comic books, like fucking throwing cars around and shooting laser beams out of your eyes. It has that, but it's not just that. The core of the story has always been social issues and dealing with people just on a personal level. So I think having a scene like that was definitely it was important to keep true to the heart of X-Men. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, even back in the day, it was originally penned as the civil rights, African American struggle, but it's changed over the years because different groups get. I'm trying to think of the word here, but different groups get beat up on it by the powers that be. Is the best way to put it. I can't think of the word I was trying to go for.
Yeah.
But
prosecuted.
That might be it. I feel dumb. I hate it when I think of the word for a minute and then I lose it, and then I'm like, oh fuck, what was that word now? But
I'm right there with you. It happens to me far too often.
But anyway, it just changes groups. First we had the African Americans, and I guess women technically are in there as well, and still kind of are, I guess, for both. Less so than some more recent groups like homosexuals, transsexuals. It just goes on and on and on. And we could go back even further to other groups being included. It's a metaphor that serves for many different people, and it's a very impactful, powerful metaphor. And I think that they do a good job with this scene alone, painting that, because like we said with the fun facts, Ian McKellen helped write it to be a coming out speech, basically. And I'll be honest, at the time this came out, I was 13. I had never seen a scene like that before, and back then it was a little over my head. I didn't fully grasp it because I was a fucking 13-year-old kid. I didn't know any of that shit. But looking back on it now, it's like, man, this is impactful, and who knows? Maybe this subconsciously or inadvertently made me more welcoming and acceptable to homosexual guys and girls when I was growing up, because I got to see a scene similar to what they go through when they come out and understand how difficult it is for them. It wasn't directly telling me that, but it kind of gave me that sympathetic, empathetic vibe towards it. And now, and growing up, I can kind of look back and say, oh, that probably helped shape me in a way that was for the better.
Yeah, and can you imagine being a young a young homosexual person seeing that on the screen, but one of the first renditions of it in your fucking X-Men movie,
blockbuster movie?
Shit, Yeah, no, I applaud them for doing it. I applaud Sir Ian for really giving his input in there. As of course, all of our of course, all of our listeners are going to know Sir Ian McKellen is actually gay. So having his input and having him more than likely draw from personal experiences on how to make this as authentic as possible, yeah, hats off to them for including that scene. That was a really
And I
good.
want to say too, there's a big outcrying of people, obviously the worst people of the fan base, who with the MCU, there's reports that a homosexual character might be coming up in the franchise soonish. Whether it's whether it's an X-Men character moving over or someone else already established in the MCU, who knows? But there's been a bit of an outcry from the lesser part of the fan base about that. And I just gotta say, guys, these movies are for everybody. We've already had Black Panther, we've already had Captain Marvel, and it's just gonna keep going, guys. Why are you hating on people who choose the way they live or are born the way they are? And why do you want to take it away from them? Let them be able to enjoy these movies too, guys. Let them have some representation out here. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, all of our characters need to be white, male, hetero protagonists that everybody can relate to. Everybody! Because everybody is white, male, and
there's something horrible.
Anyway.
There's something hilarious with you being the one that says that. Speaking of a non-white male character, let's go over to Nightcrawler real quick.
Man, I was so excited to see Nightcrawler. So I'm pretty sure we've talked about this in my in the podcast earlier on, at some point. But if I had to pick a mutant power, it would be teleportation, because that shit is boss.
It's in my top 5.
So Nightcrawler definitely holds a special place in my heart. On top of that, his character is religious, which hits home for me, and is a fucking master swordsman. We didn't get that in the movie, but comic book Kurt Wagner is a goddamn bladesman. I love that shit. It's like they wrote this character just for me. Just for me. So as soon as I heard that Nightcrawler was going to be in it, I was losing my goddamn mind.
Nightcrawler to you is what Gambit is to me. I just fucking love the fucking Cajun playboy. I'm looking forward to seeing him in one of these movies. Oh, wait. Oh. Anyway, Ryan.
I'm sorry, homie. I'm sorry.
So for this movie, Ryan, does Nightcrawler work for the film, and why do you think he was chosen for this role specifically?
I think really he represents that portion of mutant kind that is heavily persecuted, but still has the capacity for love and forgiveness anyway. I think having him be manipulated by powers using to preach hate, for lack of a better term, was really, really good at the beginning, and then they turned it around. You really get into Kurt's character, him being really religious, and him being paired with Storm to have their kind of arc about the nature of faith and how faith can lead to forgiveness, which can lead to a better life. I think their aim was really, really good. I don't think it hit as powerfully as they wanted it to. And I honestly think it's mostly just because of time restrictions, because they were trying to do a lot with this movie. So they couldn't give that arc the development it really needed to really feel impactful. They only really gave it 2 scenes where Storm was treating his wounds in the cathedral, and where Storm encourages him to teleport without sight into Cerebro's room, preaching faith. Although he fucking did that shit without seeing from a spinning jet to catch Rogue when she was flying out in the air, but that's fine.
It was an emergency. He didn't have time to
plot
think.
hole. That's just a big ass plot hole that we're not going to pay attention to.
No, Ryan's a jet hole, not a plot hole. What are you talking about?
Boo!
No, I agree. I think that he definitely is supposed to be like that beacon of hope that should exist within these dark times, and I think that that's a very good character position for Nightcrawler, considering it's kind of how he operates in most of the other media for X-Men. X-Men Evolution, probably not so much, but that show was also really loose with the adaptation a bit.
Yeah.
But no, he really represents that part of the character really well, and I think they do a good job with what they have. I think, like I've said before, this cast is a little too cluttered. If you cut down a couple characters, you might have been able to squeeze a little more time out of them. But, I mean, most of that time would have been him just saying who he is and giving the big speech about, oh, I was part of the circus, and I got named Nightcrawler, and, like, listen, we got the first time. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Yep.
And I love it that Wolverine even calls him out on that bullshit, too.
It's the long-winded German gag. It's always fun.
Yep, it's always good. No, Nightcrawler is probably one of my favorite X-Men of all time. He's not my number one, but he's certainly tight five for sure. Up there with, like, Gambit, Beast, and probably Colossus for sure.
Nice.
I mean, as much as I know Colossus would get ripped to shreds by Magneto, I just gotta respect the fact that he can armor up anytime he wants.
No lie, he's like Colossus is bomb ass fucking mutant. He's just terrifying, man. That dude is ridiculous.
Absolutely. And I love that he finally gets time to shine in fucking Deadpool. I wish we could get him sooner, but Deadpool, man, we finally get it.
Yes.
Okay. Last two questions here. Favorite scene in the movie? Go.
Damn it.
I'm gonna go out there and say.
You go first.
I'm gonna go out there and say there's a lot of good scenes in this movie. It's hard to pick, but if I had to pick one, it is the entire White House infiltration scene. It showcases Nightcrawler's abilities to a very good degree. It shows that one mutant can fuck up a whole bunch of people really easily. And it just is very exciting, very fun, and has a good score to it. Like, it's all really well put together. I wish I could say it was the coming out scene, but, like, I just gotta respect the action scene, man. It's so good.
Yeah. Similar vein, I'm gonna go with the school infiltration scene. Just Wolverine getting to go fucking ninja berserker on a bunch of army guys, on a bunch of Navy SEALs coming to kidnap children, and Wolverine's like, nah, fuck all that. Yes, 100%. Just seeing him get to tear through everybody, I was 13 years old again on my couch, just like, oh, this is fucking the best.
Dude, imagine a rated R cut of that. That would have been pretty hype.
Oh my god. Yeah, if they had a young Hugh Jackman and gave him a rated R movie and be like, go. Oh my god. That would have been fucking terrifying.
Everyone would have applauded that hands down. Okay, last question. Many regard this movie as the best X-Men film. Do you agree, or does something not quite work for you to make that the case? I would say...
Clarification.
Yep.
Like, query. Yep. Is it, like, do you mean the best of the original three, or the best X-Men film period?
I hear a lot of people say it's their favorite period. I don't subscribe to that myself, but I want to know where you sit on that one.
I definitely think it's the best of the original three. 100%. Yep. I think it's the best of the original three. I can go there. Of the entire franchise, no. And it's only it's because this got to pave the way for the rest of it. Like, later X-Men films are done because they saw what the original X-Men franchise did well, what they did poorly. They got to see a lot of other comic book movies come out and shoot their shot. So they came in with a lot more knowledge of how to make a good comic book film. Mm-hmm. So it set the bar, but the later films just kept going past the bar. So I wouldn't say it's the best X-Men movie, period. No.
That's fair. Man, I cannot wait to see how they do this in the MCU. I know I'm going to say it a bunch in these episodes, but man, I'm excited. That deal's closing real soon. Before we get to our final segments here, let's get a quick shout out to the mailbag. You can go to Facebook, Tumblr, or Twitter, or even patreon.com/evacstation. And you can leave us a nice little comment. You can tell us what your favorite scene of the movie is. You can tell us why you think Nightcrawler is so great, or who your top 5 X-Men are. That should be a question for everybody. Everyone, just tell us what your 5 favorite X-Men. We'll have a fun chat with that. That'll be fun. And then lastly, you can also email us directly if you have any specific questions or comments or want to respond to any of our shenanigans. Ryan, what is that email?
That email is pipinghotadamantium at excuse me, damn it, sorry. That is evacstation@gmail.com.
Love it. Ryan, I've got another trivia segment for you. Are you ready for another round of X-Men or bullshit?
Yes, let's see if I can keep up my streak.
All right, I'm going to get my paper out here. This time there's a theme to it.
Ooh.
Is this going to be an X-Men character or a Transformer?
Oh my god, I love it. All right, let's go.
All right, number 1, and I'm going to give you the name and the power for those who are just keeping up with this. The character is in question, Bling. The power, bone marrow, and can produce diamond shards from the bone marrow.
Bling?
Bling, with an exclamation point.
Yeah, we'll go with the next man.
Okay. Number 2, Mind Wipe. Can manipulate memories from erasing them to implanting fake ones.
I'm going to go with the Transformer on that one.
Okay. Next up is Day Tripper. Teleportation, illusions, shape-changing, and hypnotism.
Oh, that's 100% a mutant. Day Tripper. I fucking love it. Oh my god. Sounds like an acid trip. I'm sorry.
Number 4, yet 4. Blackjack. Has manipulation over probability and has hypnotic charm.
That sounds like a mutant to me.
You gonna go with mutant?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5. Hotspot. Fire creation and manipulation.
That's a Transformer.
Okay. Number 6. Weird Wolf. Can become wolf-like in appearance and distorts realities nearby.
What the fuck? That sounds like a mutant, but that's just weird.
I mean, it's in the name, obviously.
Yeah, that's just odd.
What are you gonna go with?
I'm gonna go with the mutant.
Alrighty. And then I got one more here for you. I got an odd number, and I'll explain why in a minute. Skids has power to over semi-permeable personal protective deflection field. Wait.
I'm gonna make you say that again. What?
Skids has power over semi-permeable personal protective deflection fields. Kind of like mini force fields, so to speak.
We're gonna call that a Transformer.
Okay. Now, Ryan, I give you an odd number for a reason.
Because one of them is not either of them, isn't it?
Nope, one of them is both.
Wait, what? I hate you.
One of them is both a Transformer name and an X-Men character.
I hate you. Oh, God. All right, let's hear this.
All right, do you want to know which one? Or
go in order. Go in order.
Okay, so I got Bling. I've got Mind Wipe. I've got Day Tripper. I've got Blackjack. I've got Hotspot. I've got Weird Wolf. And I've got Skids.
I think Skids is too obvious, so I'm gonna go with Hotspot.
Gonna go with Hotspot?
That is the both. That is the yeah.
Okay, put a star next to that one. All right, going down the list to read off your score here, Ryan. Number 1, Blaine is in fact an X-Man.
Yes.
Number 2, Mind Wipe. You got that. That's a Transformer.
Yes.
Number 3, Day Tripper. That is an X-Man.
Yes.
Long story there, too. I had to do some research. Apparently, she's also like a magician or some bullshit. It's weird. Next up is Blackjack. You said X-Man. I have bullshit. That is a Transformer.
What?
Yep. I'm gonna warn you right now, Ryan, there's a lot of fucking Transformers with the name Jack in them.
Wait, but fucking probability manipulation?
Yep. Oh, no, I made up that power.
Oh,
the name is real.
But... You dick. Oh, well played, sir. Fuck you, but well played.
Let's see. Next one is Hotspot. You said it was both. It's actually just a Transformer.
Damn it. It's just entirely
That's not a bad one, though, Ryan. There's a few of them that have Spot in the name in both of them, so you got the idea. Number 6 is Weird Wolf. That actually is a Transformer.
What?
I know. I was so thrown off by that, too.
Weird Wolf?
Yep.
Okay.
And the last one, Skids, is both. Not bad. Not as good as the first round, but I threw you off with a few curveballs.
I felt like Skids was too obvious.
Wait, come in next week, boys, for another hot round of X-Men or bullshit. This is probably one of the most fun trivia segments I've put together so far.
Yeah, this is good.
All right, closing out the episode, Ryan, we're going to review the film. From platinum, gold to shit and dirt. Got all the colors in between. Ryan, where are we going to rank X2 X-Men United?
I think it definitely makes some headway on the failings of its predecessor, while definitely increasing some of the really good stuff. Still not perfect, but it's definitely steps ahead from where the original was. So I'm going to give it a strong silver.
I like we're on the same page. I concur. I think that it's very good, and a few tweaks could have made it a gold. A little more time, a little more budget maybe, but I think where it is, it's comfortably at a silver. And I think we're going to see it improve, not in the next movie possibly, but definitely down the road. We're going to see some drastic steps to get it pushed up to a higher level,
yeah.
I would think.
I honestly can't wait for next week's ones, because that's going to be a debate.
It's going to be. So thank you all for listening. Again, you can follow us on the different platforms. You can go to patreon.com/evacstation to support our show. Also to rate, review, and all that stuff our show as well, because more points, more stars, whatever you rate our show helps us get more views. It's all good stuff there. Tune in next week when we cover X-Men 3 Last Stand. And we should be going through the X-Men movies here pretty quickly. We'll end up with Dark Phoenix at the end. And after Dark Phoenix, if our schedule holds out, we'll be doing Nick Cage Month.
Oh,
Rage in the Cage is what I'm going to call it. We still have to nail down what our actual episodes are going to be for that, but we'll be discussing that here off screen a little bit. And we'll let you guys know as soon as we do. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you after the credits.
Bye.